Hey y'all. So as some of you may know, I have been an amateur genealogist for over 20 years, helping people to figure out their family trees, where they come from, sometimes even figuring out who their families were that gave them up for adoption. Um, I have been very involved over the years, including the paperwork side as well as the DNA side. All of that to explain that I know that my fifth great grandfather came to Texas in 1832 and settled in the Fort Bend area of Texas, which is where Sugar Land is. Now, Sugar Land is where Imperial Sugar is at. Some of you in the South will know that as the main sugar producer here and where we get most of our sugar. Now, the original guy, Samuel Williams, was granted land by Stephen F. Austin back when Stephen F. Austin had an agreement with the Spaniards to settle this area of Texas. Each person, each of the original 300 that agreed to come here, were given thousands of acres of land in exchange for moving their families here. You received so much land for each person, for the husband, for the wife, and per child. So they started a sugar plantation, which in the very beginning was rather primitive compared to what we have today. They used a combination of slave labor and convict labor from a local prison to run this sugar plantation. It eventually grew to be an over 12,000 acre sugar plantation, so we know that sugar grows well here in Texas. I'll put up a couple of pictures of what Imperial Sugar looks like today. A lot of it's being converted into office buildings and apartments because they have moved their manufacturing somewhere else, but we do have a long history of sugar in Texas. And all of that history leads us to today, where Tommy and I were gifted some sugarcane stalks, and we're going to plant them and see if we can grow some here. And if we fail this year, then we'll try again next year. But it does take a long time to grow sugarcane. It can take up to a year. So we're going to get started on that today. With the prices at the grocery store going up and shortages left and right, you just have to cover all your different bases, and having a sweetener around is something that we would like to be able to count on, even if it's just a raw sugarcane syrup. We don't have all of the big fancy equipment, and we're not going to invest in the big equipment to mill sugarcane, but there are some shortcuts that there are some ways that you can grow it and harvest it that don't require all the big equipment, and we'll be showing you that as we go along. Tommy and I don't really eat a lot of sugar, but I do use it in my canning. I use it in my sweet pickles as well as my jellies and my jams to preserve various things that we either grow or buy. So it is important that we have some around at all times. A thing of pancake syrup will last us one bottle will last us a year. That gives you a good gauge of how much syrup we would use around here. So anyway, let's get started.
Alrighty, so today we're going to cut some sugar cane. You can use just about anything to cut them because they're soft enough. I'm just going to use my Sawzall. And if you look here, you want to do you want to have nodes. These are nodes. You want to have 3 per one. So we're not going to count this small section. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to cut here. And I'm going to do that on all of them. So we're going to start. And it doesn't matter if you cut it straight or at an angle. I'm going to give it a little angle. So here's one cut. fresh cut. Smells sweet. 1, 2, 3. We'll cut here. Yep. And then we got 1, 2. We got our nodes on that one. Now I'm going to finish cutting these and making sure that we have 3 nodes per one. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, cut here. And there you have it. And now you got multiple stacks that you can start putting in water or ground and let them start rooting. Does not taste like sugar yet.
Alrighty, so I have a hole dug about 6 inches deep, and now I'm going to do sort of a modified wagon wheel in here. You know, back when wheels were square. So I'm going to get this covered with some dirt real quick, and I'll be back. Alright, I covered it with this board temporarily to keep the chickens from digging it up, and I put a flag there so Tommy knows there's a plant there, and if anything grows up, don't weed eat it down. So there we go, and I guess we just wait and see if anything comes out of this. So there you go. Sometimes you just have to step outside of your comfort zone and try growing something you've never grown before. I have made sugarcane syrup with some donated sugarcane, and helped other people make sugarcane on a pretty big scale, but I have never grown it personally in my yard. Hopefully it's like growing bamboo, which I do have experience with. Hopefully it doesn't take over and become invasive, but we'll see. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this turns out to be a good experiment, but we're gonna have to wait a year to find out. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe.